Good morning, beautiful people. This is your man, Who Did It this time, coming at you with reality clips. And I'm asking you to relax and take some notes on this one, because this is actually not my doing. If you believe in divine intervention, if you believe certain people have gifts and they can be enhanced, and dare I say, displayed through action, directed only from the Most High, in my opinion, but some of you all would like to choose alternative phrases and substitutes. For the sake of time, I will let it slide. But I'm going to make sure that I do myself a service, not him, by giving all praises to the Most High. So with that being said, this reality clip comes back to understanding that we are being entertained 90% of the day. And what I mean by that is it took me back to my childhood, and all of you brothers that was born in the late 70s all the way to the early 90s can understand the importance of action figures and programming. Your Iron Man, Wolverine, Bishop, Cable, these were all guys of the X-Men series. Snake Eyes, different G.I. Joes, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, all four of them, Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, and the so-called leader, Leonardo. Wrestling, you got your Undertaker, you got Ultimate Warrior, Mr. Perfect, the Legion of Doom. You know, you got all of these different characters. But when we saw these guys, Hulk Hogan and Tiny Lister, who also played Zeus for a little while, you know, rest in peace, my brother. And all of those other wrestlers that I mentioned, you know, Macho Man and them guys. These gentlemen, and you know, this isn't anything against the woman per se, but when you grew up in that time period, these men were fictional characters, man. Though they were buffed up and pumped up, and they played very, very, very intimidating men, especially when you were a child. Now, I myself, I had an alpha male in the crib, so I used to look at him like, not necessarily that he could beat everybody physically, but I knew he would protect our household. With that being said, these gentlemen were all fictional, dog. You know what I mean? To the point where when we see them in regular jeans and a wife beater or some type of tank top, as we call them, you would still get called out of your name. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, that's Hulk Hogan, or that's Zeus. Or if we saw, you know, Steven Seagal, he might have played a character, you know what I'm saying, on television. And the crazy thing is, some people wouldn't call him Steven Seagal. They would call him whatever character he portrayed in a movie, in a fictional piece, a theater. The same thing goes for certain comedians. I've heard Mike Epps go out on a limb and say, please stop calling me Day Day. His name was Mike Epps. For a while there, we used to call Clifton Powell Chauncey off a Menace, until I realized his name was Clifton Powell, because we was programmed to follow the character. You dig? Well, the same thing goes for the majority of these politicians, but we gonna lay off of them today. You know, let's stick to something more two-dimensional, in my opinion, and a lot more shallow. Shall we? We don't have to get knee-deep. Our rappers, a lot of them don't even go by their government name in the public to protect their image. I understand they have security and they have certain precautions, you know. But as far as actually covering them and understanding who they are, what they was like in them hallways, whether it's in they so-called projects or even in they public schools or Catholic schools, wherever school that they were institutionalized, a lot of these young men and women are no different than the characters that we saw as children. And some of you brothers born in the mid-90s and early 2000s, this goes for you. Because I know some of you all were born in the cell phone era. So I don't, hold you guys with the same amount of scrutiny or accountability because you're a little younger. these people have the same emotionalism and hype behind them that the action figure era had. You know, as a child, we weren't rich at all, and I wouldn't even, I don't even know how much my parents had. I know I had like a 3 action figure minimum around the holiday that they call Christmas. So I thought, that was golden in a Sega game or a Super game at the time. You know what I mean? I thought it was clutch. But now that I'm a man looking at hindsight, the same way that we were excited to get in a plastic wrap, Leonardo or Raphael or, a Wolverine, pick one, man, a Spawn action figure or a cartridge. It's the same way a lot of these men are so hyped off of Kanye West Donda or Jay-Z Kingdom Come years ago. I see the same emotionalism, and I just want to protect those who are willing to at least sit down and understand that is obviously the first couple steps of either recovering from idol worship or following deeper into it. No man is supposed to be a fan of anything. A fan is what we saw, a lot of the Europeans do for the Beatles, and later on Elvis. And then when I was a small child, Michael Jackson and Prince, who I love their music dearly. And as a child, I really was into the music, not necessarily the wardrobe. Nevertheless, Rolling Stones, and then Tupac, and NWA, all the way to what we have now, where you see a lot of mimics and gimmicks where people will dress like Young Thug, people will dress like one of the Little Baby, Da Baby, I don't know. They'll do that, and instead of pointing my finger at them like a math teacher in an elementary school with a ruler, I just want to ask them, are they aware that you're doing nothing but playing with toys all over again? Or playing a video game? It's the same exact emotionalism behind it, and anger when someone doesn't like your favorite cartoon or favorite action figure. When we played Mortal Kombat, it was the Scorpion fans, or it was the Liu Kang fans, or Sub-Zero. If you was into the Street Fighter series, there was some cats who really love Ryu, or the way, everybody pronounces his name different depending on where you live at in this country or the world. Or you was into Ken or Dalsim, or I like the big dude, Zangief. You know what I mean? That was my cat. But you had dudes who would really be into that. They really want to fight you. Over a damn game. Pardon my language. And I was an idiot at one time when it came to the Barry Sanders argument versus Emmett and Randy Moss. All of that is the same thing. They're playing characters. Now, are they exceptionally better than we are maybe at acting as a martial artist? If you walk up to Michael Jai White or a young Bruce Lee or Van Damme or any of them talking crazy, this ain't no game. They can break your neck in 50 different pieces. Now, there's no debating that. They are skilled, they are trained, and they are gifted from the Most High physically. But when you follow these guys to the point where you think they're invincible and they have supernatural ability, this is where you have to be very cautious and careful with your spirit. You understand? And the reason why I'm saying that to different people, because I want them to understand one thing and then another thing, as Phil Leotardo says off of the Sopranos series. Peep this, man. When you see these people, whether it's athletes, politicians, entertainers of all sorts, that being musicians, producers, whatever it is that you gravitate to, just remember, dog, that they are playing a part. And just like on the fictional martial artists, when it comes to them receiving supernatural advice or spiritual enhancement from the galaxy or some dude from Pluto or some mysterious candle, or they've been hit by a meteor, Robert Townsend in the movie Meteor Man. They're telling you some truth in order to receive all of the trinkets on this side of the earth. No doubt about it. Kwame's right that everybody's not a part of, and when I say Kwame, pardon me, Kwame Brown is not wrong when he says everybody doesn't have to pledge. Everybody doesn't have to go along, get along. You know, some people got it from the mud and they really are gifted. And if they really are strong enough, they can break those bonds and barriers and chains of the elites in the industry. But 90%, I used to say 99, let's go down to 90%. And with new information, you will come up with a new theory or a new way of looking at things. 90% of these fools, both male and female, have received their gifts already from their God. That being the Madonna, Diana, Isis, Nude. You know what I mean? We could go into depth where these people have really sold their soul and their spirit, or whatever way y'all want to look at it, for fame and riches. Therefore, the television and the camera equipment and all of the other things that come along with theater and Hollywood, they look like something else. You see these men in person. Now, I'm above 6 feet. I'm definitely not the tallest man, but I'm above the average man right about now. I'm closer to 6'2", and I believe after my injuries I started to shrink a little bit. But that's nevertheless, this ain't about me. When you see these Hollywood and these musicians in person, and I'm not like coming at them, you know, at one time the B2Ks and, you know, Cisco's and Usher, and then you could even take it to some of these Michael B. Jordan and all these other guys that you may run across. They're not that big, but because of the television and all of the programming, yeah, bro, they look a certain part. And, you know, no homo by any means. By any means, you understand? They are being sold, you know, through sex and promoting being a sex symbol. Well, that's for the girl to be. Once again, she's built off of fanboyism and emotionalism. Not all, because I found a good one, so I advise y'all to understand that it ain't all women, bruh. But what I'm trying to get at is, yes, theater and camera equipment makes these people supernatural. I'm gonna bring it home. What makes us brothers in the known, or those who are praying and fasting and trying their best. Maybe you're not a so-called Bible thumper. You're not even into that type of stuff. But those who are trying to live prosperous and get to the next step of this thing called life, which is the afterlife, whatever way you want to look at it, you have to understand that your supernatural ability, the way that you can become your best you, as these therapists like to say and whatnot, motivational speakers, you do have to have some type of supernatural relationship. And I'm not going to call it the multiverse. I'm not going to call it the universe. Y'all already know how I get down. Yeah, it's the Most High, and it's God and God alone over everything. You know what I mean? G-O-E. You know what I mean? God over everything. But the way you receive that enhancement, you know what I'm saying? That's whatever your belief is. I'm trying to be careful. That's what you go down. But don't get caught up in the materialism in Hollywood and all that type of stuff, because they're playing a character, man. So this is a long reality clip. I'm sure I've been rambling way too long, man, and I apologize. I just want my people to understand that the same thing that was happening when we was children, when you was a child, you thought as a child. Now that you're an adult, you put away those childish things. Unless you have children. I like to play with the kids and whatnot. You know what I mean? You get on the floor and you can stretch your imagination. But now we have to stretch our imagination a little further and look at some of these people and ask the question that, yo, why are we fans of everything? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about my people. Like, you really are a fan of one president, and you're a fan of the last one because he He can build on your emotions and make you want to kill and cry. When you open your eyes in the morning, you really are turning on that television to see what this fool's gonna say to trigger you instead of being informed. Don't ever say Whodidit said don't be informed. I'm saying you can't indulge that thing to the point where he's affecting you at work, so-called work, or your workout, or your parenting. All of that's hogwash and foolishness. Just, it's unnecessary, man, to your development as a person. So put the toys away, put the video games away, not literally, but I'm talking about these people. And if you're just being entertained, because I listen to all that crap, and I still do, you know what I mean? Especially when I'm trying to get a workout in. Understand that they are sending us messages, and it's almost like the Saturday cartoon phrase, after these messages, we'll be right back. It's the same thing, man. It's just now that we're adults, some of us do need to mature a little bit more and understand, like, yo, it's all the same feelings all over again. You're excited for the new toys, and all we are is looking at toys, man. All these industry plants. Shout out to Lobo TV. How to spot one. We don't even know where some of these people went to high school. We just believe in a message. It's like you really believe in Bishop instead of understanding that that's, Mr. Crooks, which is Tupac's real name. Nothing against the brother. I'm just telling y'all, like, we have to do our own investigation and our own observation, unless you just want to be entertained. And if that's all you want to be entertained. Don't let it trigger your emotions. I apologize for being long-winded and being long with this message. I love you all. That's where this is coming from. The periphery of my so-called anger, or the thesis of this whole message, is because I care about people, man. So y'all have a great day. This your man Whodidit. Reality Clips. I'm out.